If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Please, let me explain. 1, it is free. 2, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from the phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many others. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So please, download the free Anchor app and go to anchor.fm and get started today.
The Ear, Evangelical and Reformed Christian Podcast. Welcome to The Ear, the Evangelical and Reformed, a Christian podcast that urges you to think deeper and draws you closer to God through faith. Through powerful sermons, teaching segments, and discussions, The Ear hopes to give you a different perspective on secular topics from a Christian worldview. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Please welcome your host, Brandon Queen.
We have to face our mistakes and live with them because that's what really causes us to change.
So what does the Bible really say about credit and loans? What is the point of credit score? What does having a high credit score really say about you? Can I live debt-free with no credit cards or loans? Do I really need the stuff that I buy on credit?
Don't sleep. Don't give your eyes any rest. Work your butt off and get out of debt like the gazelle gets away from the hunter.
We as Christians are taught to be frugal with our resources and live within our means. On last week's episode, we discussed why in this culture we say we need credit and why do we buy into the trap. Brennan asked this question.
The only way to have a good credit score is by making your payments on time. That's the only way. You borrow money, you borrow things, and you make all your payments on time. When someone tells me they have a good credit score, you want to know my response?
Yeah, man. Tell me what your response is.
Okay, so what I say is, I'm so sorry. And the reason is because, like what I was just saying, that the only way to have a good credit score is by continually making your payments and being stuck in the land of payments. That's my response. I have an 850 credit score. Oh, I'm so sorry. They're like, what? What do you mean? And you're sorry. Well, all that means is you borrow a lot and you way overspend and you probably have nothing.
Yeah, see, and that makes a lot of sense too. Having, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish my credit score was an 850, but then you're gonna tell me I'm sorry.
Yeah, because all it means is that you borrow a bunch of stuff and you pay for it on time. Like that's the only way to get there. And so we have to get to this point of understanding borrowing is not how we get stuff. It works. You can get stuff when you do that, but you're only doing it that way because you don't actually have the money to get it yourself.
Right.
And in the long term, if you look forward further than just, next month's payment, it's really setting you up for so much failure, and it's stealing away your income month after month after month, and it's never allowing you to build any kind of retirement or anything. There's some math that I do for people. If you were to take the average car payment in America today is $500, 500 and some change. I can't remember. If you were to take that 500 and just simply invest it into a good growth stock mutual fund, like in a Roth IRA, in a mutual fund that's outperforming the market, you would retire with if you were to do that from, let's say, age 25 to age 65, a normal working lifetime, you would retire with over $3 million. But instead, what we do is when we're 25 years old, we go and get a car with a payment. We pay for it until it's paid off. And then once it's paid off, it's also old and it's lost a lot of its value and it's starting to break down. So what do? We trade it in and we get another payment. And so we keep car payments most of our working lifetime. A lot of us take car payments to the grave. And instead of building up a retirement, we spend all that money on cars. And a lot of people, they'll say, oh, well, yeah, I'm just going to get this one car on payments. I'm going to pay it off and then I'm going to keep it forever. And we all say that and we all want to believe that, but almost never does that happen. Instead, we just go and get another new car with payments and we continue this cycle of being broke and all of our income being stolen away by stuff.
Yeah, I'm in that cycle right now where my car is 2 years out from being paid off, but I put a plan in place to where I'll have it paid off hopefully in the next 10 months. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can keep this car.
Yeah.
Now, I want a truck. Do I need a truck? Probably. But no, I don't need a truck. I want a truck because trucks are very nice. Yeah. I am a truck fanatic. But I bought myself a Hyundai Elantra back in 2016 because I traveled a lot and it's great on gas.
Yeah.
It is not the fancy name brand car, but that little sucker gets me from point A to point B. I've had the car for about close to 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And I'm just getting up to like the 42,000 mile mark on it. And I'm just having to change my tires.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I don't get another car and this car can last me another 10 to 12 years, if I keep it up and fix the things that break, I'm going to save $335 a month.
That's right.
That's how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So there's a method to getting nicer, newer vehicles. So what we teach people is, in most cases, the vehicle is the largest expense, the largest thing that we purchase in this country beside the house. So the first biggest expense is the house. The next one is the car, the vehicle. So what we teach is, since your car payments are killing you, most houses have 2 car payments, but since they're just completely taking away all your money to the tune of $600 or even $1,000 a month, 2 car payments at $400 each is $800 a month. So what we teach is get rid of those cars. Even if you're upside down, there's a way to sell them and get out of them. And you've got to start driving a car that is mechanically reliable and safe. But you're not looking for anything flashy. You're not looking for low mileage. You're not looking for any of that stuff. And it comes back to short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. So if you'll drive a car that's a little bit more of a beater for, let's just say, a year, okay, and that car costs you a total of $3,000, that car has already lost almost all of its value. So in the next year, you can probably sell it for almost the same price that you bought it at. So if you bought it at $3,000, let's say you can sell it at $2,500 in the next year. In the meantime, you have no car payments. So if your payment was $350, instead now you're saving that $350 every month. So if you multiply that by 12, you're saving that $350 for a year, every month for a year. That's $4,200 plus the sale of your car at $2,500. Now you've got $6,700 to move up in vehicle. Okay, so now you go get yourself a $6,000 vehicle and you repeat the process. For the next year, you save that $350 a month that you would have been spending on a car payment, and then you sell your vehicle. It hasn't lost a lot of value, so now you sell a $6,000 vehicle for, let's say, $5,000, plus you've saved your $4,000. Now you're getting yourself a $9,000 or a $10,000 vehicle. So within a few years, you can get yourself a really nice vehicle, whether it's a truck, car, whatever. But again, you're not spending a ridiculous amount of interest. You're being a lot more wise with this money, and no one is coming to take your vehicle away if some kind of crisis comes up in your life. Because when you've got this car payment, and if anything, any bump in the road happens, the road of your life, you have to somehow figure out how to keep up with that payment. And if you can't do it, they come and take the car away. Whereas if you own the car, that doesn't happen. Again, no payments means options.
Yeah. See, when I actually bought my car, I did something smart because I sold my old car and I sold it for $1,200 because I needed to get rid of it. And instead of taking that $1,200 and either sticking it into a savings account or, just keeping it to spend and have extra money
blowing it.
Correct. I took that $1,200 and I literally stuck it on the principal for the new car.
Yeah.
And when my friend asked me, what happened to the money you did when you sold your car? Oh, I put it on my new car. Why would you do that? Because I want to get out of debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but a lot of people, they see extra money and say, oh, I could go buy this. Oh, I could go buy this gun. No, let's save that.
Plan. That's right. When you have your plan, you have your budget, you get that extra money and you say, oh, here's what I really need to do with this money. But when you don't have that plan, when you don't have your budget, you get extra money and you say, here's what I want to do with this money. And so you go and do that.
Right. I mean, and the next question was, why do people have credit cards? We kind of answered that question. Mm-hmm. People are lazy and don't want to work, the extra mile, if you will, to get what they need, keyword need.
Right. So
they go out and they take a loan.
Yeah.
All of us are guilty of it. I probably could have made my old car work for another 5 to 6 years.
Right. And imagine if you had done that and saved what you're paying for your car now for those 5 years. Right. I mean, that's $4,000 a year for 5 years that you could have had by this time a $20,000 vehicle that you paid cash for.
Correct. Yeah, you're right.
Get yourself a really nice truck with that money.
Don't rub it in my face, Brennan.
Hey man, we have to face our mistakes and live with them because that's what really causes us to change, But the credit thing, we have this idea that, when we can't make ends meet, instead of dropping our lifestyle, we go and borrow to make ends meet. And so we build this life of having so many payments and having so much expenses that we don't make enough money to sustain it all. So we've got to go and get a credit card for our groceries and for, the vacation that we want to take and just all this stuff. And also, like I was saying, we just naturally spend more when we use that plastic. And all of these companies, all of these credit card companies know that, and they bank on that. That, there may be a few people who are paying off their balance every month and not getting charged interest or whatever. And that's, great. I guess I'm kind of happy for you. But if you're paying off your balance every month and you're never owing any money on your credit card, why are you even using it?
You don't need it.
Yeah, you don't need it. And when I say, well, why are you using it? People will throw something at me like, well, I get 1% cash back or whatever it is. Let's think about this. Okay, let's analyze this. 1% cash back. You have to spend $100,000 in a year to get $1,000 back. How does this make sense? You're overspending to the tune of like $50,000, right? Because your household expenses, if you're anything like my family, a toddler, a baby on the way, marriage, all this stuff, your expenses should be somewhere around $50,000. Obviously, if you live in like New York or California or some of these more expensive states, that's going to be different, as well as your income is going to be different. But on average, your expenses should be somewhere around $50,000. So if you're spending $100,000 on a credit card so that you can get $1,000 back, you're overspending to the tune of $50,000. I'd rather not spend that extra $50,000. You see, there's so many tricks and tactics that these companies use to get you to use their product. And again, because we don't think it through, we don't think long term, we don't pay attention, it works. Credit cards, debt is not a system that is meant to help you, the consumer. It's a system that's meant to help the lender. That's why their buildings are bigger than yours. That's why their furniture's nicer than yours. Their houses are nicer than yours. That's why, because it's a system that works for them, and that's how they make their money.
I call that modern day slavery.
Yeah. These may not be evil people, but I mean, this is their business model, and they take it very seriously. And we get pumped all of these advertisements, and we go and consume. And so we really have to pay attention to that.
Absolutely. And I wish more people would.
Yeah.
So now my next question is kind of a detrimental question. What should one do if they are in desperate need of a loan to pay their bills?
There is almost no circumstance that this is the case. I've worked with so many people, many of them being people who struggle, about 1 in every 10 people or couples that I help has an income issue, meaning their income is just too low. They're below the poverty line. In every other case, there's no income issue. The problem is they have no plan. They have no idea what their money's doing, and they have too many payments, and they've got to start getting rid of some stuff and being more responsible. So